Yeah, just putting my name in it will get you a lot of views.
Well, I appreciate that. The meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. Well, thank you, Bryan, for joining me this evening. I've been looking forward to this all day. The man, the myth, the legend. So anybody who's watching, please feel free to jump in and ask any questions. We are going to be answering as many as we can. We're going to give everybody a minute to get in there. What's the name of your new kitten there?
Yeah, just putting my name in it will get you a lot of views.
Yeah, perfect.
Osiris.
I appreciate that. Cyrus. The meeting is now streaming live. All right, we're streaming live, baby. Okay. So, we talked a little bit before we went live, and, Bryan has said there is nothing that's off limits. And so what I really want to delve into first is, I know that modern success is all about mindset, and everything you talk about is about mindset. And when I look back at your life, I can see from a young age how your mindset has always been strong.
Yeah.
And was there something that clicked in you, or did you know, like at what age did you know you weren't going to be told that wasn't for you, coming out of those humble beginnings?
Yeah. Well, there's so many things that built onto, we can say, that foundation of having the mindset. I always remember seeing my parents struggle when I was a kid, and they always kind of felt trapped, right, with their jobs. And I knew they wanted more. I always had a chip on my shoulder because I was told by everybody around me that I wouldn't be able to achieve what I wanted to achieve, which was success or being good at, I used to play instruments when I was a kid. I played the violin, I played the clarinet, I played the saxophone, I played the guitar, and I was good at all of them. But even the people around me said, stop wasting your time playing instruments. You suck. You're not going to be a musician.
Right.
I pick up a basketball after already playing soccer, because my dad was a professional soccer player, and he had to stop because my grandfather, his father, died when my dad was 14, and he had to take care of my grandma, which was his mom. So He had to throw that dream away, right? And he kind of was upset about that. So I play soccer. They tell me I'm going to suck. I pick up a basketball. They said, you're wasting your time. So everything I did, it seemed as if the world was against me. So I developed what I would say, and what people call the chip on your shoulder, from a young age. And really, I wanted to always succeed, not only for me, but just to tell everybody to go fuck themselves. That's the best way for me to say it, because I now will stand up more for people outside of even my circle, because I hate when people outside of the individual want to dim their light, want to stop their dream. Because to me, that's like the ultimate form of bullying. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
Some people who aren't strong yet will let those other people stop them. And they think in their world, okay, this is normal. Everyone's supposed to hate on you, which it's not. It's bullshit. And it's perpetuating throughout society and the world. And it pisses me off, especially on social media, because you do something good, and there's always that one motherfucker who never likes anything or talks to you, who comes in on your comment section and wants to go in on you and say, well, you got that award for being number one, but hey, you're not all that. It's like, dude, who the fuck are you? Like, shut up. If you have nothing good to say, then keep rotting away in your mom's basement and shut up, Like I never liked that. So I grew up with that kind of environment close to me, whether it was my immediate or even outside family and my peers, and I just never liked it. And although in my mind, I somewhat thought it was normal, I knew there was a better way, and I knew that there was something outside of that. And I knew it was possible to create an environment that wasn't that. So I knew I was just basically like, okay, I need to break out of this. And from a young age, that's why I always just focused on myself and what I was doing. And through, I think, athletics, I really developed that competitive spirit, also with my brothers too, right? I have 2 older brothers, but we have a huge age gap, and everything was a competition, whether it was rollerblading, playing street hockey, skateboarding, whatever it was like a constant competition. And that probably helped breed that competitiveness in me. Again, I think that's extremely important, especially if you want to run your own business, like a real estate business. You got to be competitive, man. There's other people out there. You have other agents in your office, and everyone's going after that same piece of the pie. So why not have that extra fire and desire in what you're doing? And then I see the people that do have that, the outside people try to attack them and say, well, you can't be that aggressive. It's like, dude, you can't get on me just because I have more desire than you. What makes me bad for having more desire and wanting to work harder than you? So it just sucks that when you do things right, there's so many factors outside of us that have created stories and narratives to stop us or to get us to slow down. Yeah. That's really why I'm doing what I'm doing now. And that's really kind of been what I've been attacking since I was a kid, if that makes sense.
You know, it really does. I also came from humble beginnings, so it makes exact sense. You know, so I hope anybody who is in a situation now where they're being told those exact same words, stop dreaming. You're never going to do that. Can watch this and find the inspiration within themselves to look past that environment that they're in and understand that they're going to reach a point in life where they get to move past that and they can shed all that dead weight and go become something great. So at what age did you pick up the basketball?
11, age 11.
Okay, so you pick up this basketball and you fall in love, and this leads to a professional ball career, correct?
Yeah, I played professionally for 3 years.
Okay, so, and I don't want to but let's call it what it was. You get injured. All your hard work has just been shattered. Yeah. You're told you're never playing ball again. Yeah. So instead of at this moment, a lot of people would have stopped, become depressed, ended up living in their mother's basement, basically become exactly what they were told they were going to be, which is nothing. Yeah. Not Bryan. Bryan stops, pivots, picks a completely different career path, and thrusts himself right back into the spotlight and is now nationally recognized realtor in the United States of America and possibly beyond. What went on in here for you to go, I'm not going to go live in mom's basement?
Well, for a year, I did feel sorry for myself. You know, when I came back, I spent some time with my family in South America. I stayed with one of my uncles for probably about a year, and I worked with him. And there, near the end of that year, I kind of realized, okay, this isn't for me. I'm having fun. This is cool, but I don't want to stay here. And I definitely don't want to do this job that I'm doing with my uncle, because although it's cool, and he's the one person I can say in my family in South America who's doing well for themselves, I'm not enjoying this work, right? It's good money. I would have a good life here, but I don't want good. I want great. I want amazing. And so I come back to the States, and, I'm kind of, dibbling and dabbling in different things and trying to kind of find my way, because I realized after a couple months, I said, look, I can't just feel sorry for myself, because all it does is not only does it destroy me, it destroys the people around me. Right. And I become that negative Nancy. I become that burden on people. And I don't like that. Right. I'm disgusted by that when people do it, because if you're 18 and over, you're an adult, right? And you're responsible for everything, how you think, how you feel, all of that. You can't blame anybody outside of you. That kind of dawned on me after a while, because it sucks to feel depressed. It sucks to feel sorry for yourself, and you have to get over it. And there's something better. You have to know that there is a different possibility, because if sadness exists, so does happiness. Those are polar opposites. One has to exist for the other to exist. That's kind of what's going through my mind. And when I looked at real estate, what made it click was, I looked at what I brought to the table as an individual, some of the skills and things that I had, and disciplines we can say that I had forged with basketball and through my life. It lined up. I looked at it. I said, look, there's a low barrier to entry. I don't have to spend too much money to get started. I can probably get my license within 6 months to a year, because at that time, the online licensing really wasn't a thing. So you had to do it in class. Right. I said, I get paid for my production. The skills that I need for this business, I can learn, right? Even though I had no sales background, and people were telling me like, dude, you're going to get into real estate. You have to be like that people's person to get into real estate. And that's not you. And you don't even own a suit, right? I heard all those stories.
All the negative again, right? All the toxicity coming in.
When I looked at it like on paper and logically, I said, I can do this shit, right? And then I'm sitting there with the broker. I'm like, man, it's 10 a.m. on a Monday. Where the hell is everybody, right? If you're telling me the truth and there's so much opportunity, why isn't everybody like working 24/7? This sounds incredible, the way he kind of explained it to me. And he's just like, well, people are lazy. And I was like, man, I resonated with that right away. And that's when it clicked. And I said, look, I can tear it up in this business. I'm not saying maybe I'll be number one, but I'm going to do well quickly because of, the mindset I'm bringing in and the work ethic. And that's really what it was. It wasn't anything special that I had, Carol. It was just, I'm going to dedicate myself to the craft, right? And learn the skills. And then I'm just going to outwork everybody. And I think that's the formula that was for me in everything that I'm doing from back then to now, that again, requires no extra talent.
Right.
I'm not sitting here in front of everybody saying I was born with all the talent in the world. I'm a natural salesman and I'm the best speaker and this and that. No, I worked for everything that I have. I wasn't given anything. I didn't have that one collaboration or viral video on YouTube that made me blow up. I didn't have that, one person who then gave me 30 deals in real estate that helped me build my business. I earned everything, every step of the fucking way. Yeah. And when people need to hear that, because they always think in the back of their mind, okay, this person has a good story, but for sure there was like a break in there that led to their, explosion. And I didn't have that. It was just learned systematically over time. And the one thing I can say, because hard work, people kind of know what that is. But when I say obsession about my craft, I'm talking about like in real estate, role playing 2 hours a day, reading everything I could get my hands on about sales and communication, going to every event, taking every course, and just doubling down, where to me, nothing else existed except for making myself better in real estate for like 3 or 4 years. Like that's all I thought about, right? And anything that had to do with improving my communication and building my network and just overall making my life better in those aspects. Anything outside of that, even conversations, just did not exist, and they weren't a part of my world. And people have trouble wrapping their heads around that, because just like anything else, when you put your time and attention on something, you have to sacrifice something else. You cannot have it all, ladies and gentlemen. You can't have, I'm going to Netflix and chill 10 hours a day and still build a gazillion-dollar business. You just can't do it. Something you're going to have to sacrifice. And I said, it's a temporary sacrifice because I'll have free time later, but it just requires that dedication. And when you do that, you can really shorten the learning curve and start to do well in anything. I just think people don't have that grit to stick with something and obsess about it for, 12 months, 24 months, and 36 months. They'll do a week or two, and then they're messaging me saying, I don't have results. I'm like, dude, you did it for fucking 2 weeks. Right. Like the effort that you say you did in the last 6 months, I would do in 2 weeks. Give me a break.
Right. So, and I've watched your videos, I started following you. I found you because I wanted to start door knocking, right? So I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do this. But like you, I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a realtor. Like I walked away from my career. Like, this is what I'm going to do. Next thing you know, I stumble across Bryan Casella. Okay, click, click, click. And in your video, you talked about when you door knock with somebody that you just want to hand them your phone and they'll put their information in for you. So I thought, okay, we're going to see if this guy knows what he's talking about, right? I'm like everybody else. The proof is in the pudding. The next day I go door knocking and I'm talking to the guy and he's like, yeah. I said, well, look, why don't you just give me your email? I'll send you all my contact. And sure enough, the guy took my phone and put his email in there. Mm-hmm. So now I can't wait to get home and read and watch some more Bryan Casella, And your theme is right. Like you're on point. You tell everybody this is hard work. Like if you're looking for a cakewalk, this is not for you. But if you're willing to put the hours in, which is proven by what you've done, then you can be very successful. So you've put in all these hours and now you fast forward. When did you decide, I'm going to do a coaching program?
Well, I first released a door knocking product back in 2000. I want to say it was the end of 2015 or beginning of 2016, right? I'd been in the business now for about 2.5 years. I had built a little bit of a following, and keep in mind at that time, I didn't have 50,000, 100,000 subscribers. I had maybe 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. It took me years. It took me, I told you guys, 2 years to get my first 1,000. So I'm not this huge sensation. It's just, I'm getting an outpour of messages. Dude, I've been watching your videos. They're great. Do you have anything more advanced? At that time, I was also already doing local speaking gigs, right? And just not charging people and just doing lunch and learns. And I was speaking for like car companies, real estate offices, the boards of realtors, private parties. Right. And I got an influx of demand, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, I'm not that guy. I don't do fancy videos and products and CDs. Like I don't do that shit. Right. I just put stuff on YouTube. Then I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'll do it. So it's my first product. I get a friend of mine who's very good with video and editing. I say, look, dude, let's do this. Let's partner up. You shoot it, you edit it. And for the first like 100 sales that I make of the product, because I was going to charge $300, I was like, I'll give you half for the first 100 sales. And we know with my following, we're going to make 100 sales and you're going to make your money. So in the end, 150 times 100, you do the math. That's like $15,000. Yep. My product, when I released it within a week or two, it got featured on Inman News, which is the biggest real estate news website. And I think I sold 70 or 80 my first month. So made a ton of money. And he was grateful that I did that. So that's really when it clicked, right? I made it, it was selling, but then it got featured and everyone's like, oh my God, this is incredible. And I was like, dude, this was like a 1 or 1.5 hour product on door knocking. It wasn't even that in depth. It was good, but it wasn't like everything I know. It was just what I thought, okay, if somebody's new and they buy this product, what are they going to need to hear to shorten that learning curve? Right. So that's when it kind of dawned on me. And I did the products for a while. Then the coaching really came up because what I started seeing was a lot of people weren't focusing on getting their mind right. And when I say getting your mind right, it's not being positive and being motivated and all that shit. I mean, building a level of confidence and certainty in yourself, you know, building self-esteem and building a strong core base of values and beliefs and all those things that make an individual strong. Right. Because when you do that, it doesn't matter what you do. And in this case, we could be doing real estate, we could be doing insurance, you could be a fucking preacher, but you're going to be a badass in whatever you do, because on the inside, you're solid as fuck. Right. And that's what I focus on. So I started seeing that people maybe were getting some skills, but they were lacking in the mindset and on the inner game, we can say. And that's when I decided to do the coaching. I was like, man, people need to put these pieces together that I've put together. And you've been in the program for a while, and you know, it's not conventional fucking real estate coaching. Like, I have that in there, but to me, that's great, but it's only like that first level. We have to go beyond that to really get to level 2 and 3 and 4. Right. And you know, because you're actively in this every day and you're talking to a lot more people in the world that are entrepreneurs, everyone is their own worst enemy. And the more you get yourself out of your own way, the easier it is going to be for you to succeed. And that is the answer at the core. And that's why I think we still have so many people in the program, and it's growing, even though it's just organic, right? Because it has that X factor, right? And that's what I always focused on myself. And I have so much experience with that. And that's why it's non-conventional what I teach and how I teach, but it's effective because these are the missing pieces that I believe I corrected in myself that then led to being able to do what I do, how I do it, and with the style that I do it in, you know? Yeah, absolutely. I think self-confidence is one of your biggest assets, you know, so you're helping people grow that exponentially, and it's showing in everybody's results. One of the things I absolutely love about your program is everybody there works hard. Yep. Like, everybody's out and everybody's doing what you're telling them to do. It's not like we're all trying to reinvent the wheel. Bryan says march and we all march. Yeah, and we like just go at what he's telling us. And the cool thing is everything I've talked about or taught or that I bring up are things that I'm experienced in, right? You're not going to see me give a lecture on stocks and modern success or YouTube, because I don't know shit about stocks, right? I speak about what I know about and what I've experienced. That's it. Yeah. And it's a good amount of subjects, but it's not everything on this planet, because, you know, I think we have an issue right now where everyone wants to be like a jack of all trades. Well, that doesn't get you anywhere. Right. As more people are born, as more people enter the market and what it is that you do, it's even more imperative that you become the best. When you become the best at that one thing or two things, you're good, right? You're at the top of the tree, and your services are going to be invaluable and you're irreplaceable in the marketplace. And that's what you want. So when I look at times like right now, when we're going through the coronavirus and people are freaking out, we need strong individuals, strong leaders more than ever. And that's what we forge. And that's what I focus on. So I know the people that follow me, whether it's in our program or even on YouTube, or anybody who really just vibes and resonates with my message, they know at the core, we need to be unshakable here. Then everything on the outside can be handled much better than if on the inside we're just a complete mess. So I'm going to touch on something a little personal, and I hope that's okay here. Sure. I know that you had a speaking engagement. I believe it was several months back, and I think it was in Texas. And you had experienced a loss, a personal loss. Someone close to you had passed away. Yeah. But you still went to your speaking engagement. You didn't let nothing stop you, even though I know that that was hard. Yeah. What got you through that? Well, you know, it's one of those things, Carol, and you know this because you're in the program. You know, when I give my word to somebody, I go through with that. And I gave my word to those people. And as difficult as it was, you know, when I'm expected, like at that point, when you get to that point and someone is expecting you, like, you know, you get hired as a realtor to do the job for somebody, you're going to get paid to go speak. You have to deliver, right? You're expected to deliver a product or a service to that individual who paid you and the crowd and everybody involved. So I cannot let them down because of a personal thing. When it's game time, it's game time. And whatever's going on in your mind and your personal life has to be put to the side. Yeah. And if in that case, you're gone for 2 or 3 days and you got to deal with it, well, hey, that's life, you know? And that's what the world needs. That's what has allowed me to, you know, step up to the plate and actually deliver very well, you know, amidst that, because that wasn't easy for me. It wasn't easy for the people around me, but hey, I had to put it on pause for, you know, 48, 72 hours and go do my damn job. And that's what I do. So that's a testament of all this work that I've done. Because had it happened 5-6 years before, I would have been a complete mess probably. So what really allowed me to do it was just, you know, my ability as an individual to have that kind of emotional maturity and intelligence to say, hey, this isn't easy, this sucks, but everyone else doesn't have to suffer and should not suffer just because I'm going through what a lot of people go through. I'm not the only person who's gone through a death. Everybody has, right? So what makes me special to tell everybody, you know what, sorry guys, I can't do it just because it happened to me when it probably happened to half that room at some point or more, you know? And it just comes down to duty, me keeping my word and my responsibilities as an adult and as a businessman, you know, that reigns supreme. And I don't think there's ever an excuse.
You know, it's just super commendable. And I hope it was okay that I touched on that.
Of course, yeah.
So I think at one point, Modern Success was called Supreme Being.
Close
Is
the
that
deal.
correct?
Close the deal.
So what made you change the name?
Well, originally I started Close the Deal in partnership with another friend of mine, Arash, and I focused entirely 100% on sales, right? It was just 100% on sales. Now, eventually when I started developing more and building a bigger audience, I said, hey, let's keep that going, but I also want to do my own thing. So I kind of just merged it together, and Close the Deal remained, which is that original vault of all those lectures. And I really started adding all this other material that I had learned and understood and kind of mastered, because I felt like this new age of information, this new layer, we can say, of information and development is what led me to have that other step of growth and explosion. So it's kind of like the progress of me as an individual. You know, that first obsession was just entirely on sales and communication. And then as I started exploring other subjects and adding on to what I already knew and getting bigger and better on the inside and with my results, is when I started introducing this other stuff. Because to me, it's about being the complete package. And I think too many people, if there's 5 pieces in the package, as an example, they're only focused on one. And it's great to be, you know, good at one, but you got to be the complete package. Like I look at right now, and for the people who aren't paying attention to their finances or responsible with their finances, if something extreme happens in the next couple months, they're screwed, you know? And I'm kind of sitting here like, I'm good no matter what happens. But because that one part of that package, I made mistakes early on and I corrected it and I fixed it, which is why we have that separate vault in the program where I talk about financial management, and I, you know, do a whole lecture and system on that, because that's so important. So as I made those mistakes and learned, that's when I added it in. And a lot of the stuff that you get in the program is things that I did wrong and then had to pay the price and fix. And I'm then giving to you guys and saying, hey, I made this vital mistake. Make sure that this is done correctly from the beginning, and you can avoid the pain and suffering that I had to go through.
I love your honesty when you are doing your lectures and you're teaching us. If it is something you made a mistake on, you're like, dude, I totally, like, don't make that mistake. And you just raw, you share it, you help us learn from it, and you help us move past it without making that mistake, which is amazing.
Well, we all do, Carol. And how many people want to hide that and they're ashamed to say their mistakes? I'm more than happy to say my mistakes. I fucked up my first listing presentation. I was nervous as crap. My first buyer's presentation, I had to go out of the room where I had my first buyer and ask questions on the floor like 5 times. I'm like, okay, hold on, let me get the answer, right? And I'm looking like a chicken with his head cut off. You know, bad financial mistakes like buying my first car. I leased it and I was stupid and I hardly put any money down, and I was known for doing that. So I think people know because they themselves have made mistakes. So when you try to say, well, I haven't made mistakes, people know that you've made mistakes. And I just think that's kind of that level of inner confidence and self-esteem that I have, that even if somebody wants to try to shit on me for those mistakes, I don't care. It's like, dude, you're that same person who's made a million mistakes and you don't tell anybody, and you're trying to get on me for making mistakes, right? How about you name some of yours? Oh, wait, you don't have the courage to name yours because you know I'm going to say something about it and it's going to piss you off. Whereas I can laugh about it because it's not that big of a deal, you know? And I think for a teacher to really be effective, and for somebody who's teaching you and leading you, they need to have that type of strength. And you need to know that, hey, they've walked the path that I'm walking. And when you are open like that, especially in regards to mistakes, it helps the next people coming, because if they do go through that mistake, they can say, oh, okay, well, so-and-so did it too, so I'm okay. This isn't some new thing, right?
I think I've hit a couple points now throughout my time in the program where I've said, Bryan, like, this is what I'm going for. And you're like, no, that's normal. Yeah. And it does. It makes you feel better. Like, okay, you're focused on that and you're concerned about it. And then you go, oh, wait, that's normal. This should be happening. Okay, I'm good. And you can stop thinking about it now and move on to the next thing. So that's definitely been helpful. I got a little list of questions here.
Yeah, and I can add to that too. Every level that you go through has a new set of issues and challenges, and that's never going to stop. Right. And I think what people realize, especially the people that are closer to me like you, is a lot of the stuff that I give, you have to be an action taker to start realizing and clicking a lot of the points that I make, because it's for the people who are actively engaged in their activities at a high level. then you can remember something I said 6 months ago and say, damn it, he was dead on when he said, when I do X, Y is going to happen. Because you can look at it from the outside and say, oh, that sounds cool, it's probably bullshit. But when you take the action and then you reference what I said at that time, it'll confirm it. And it happens over and over, right? And that's why you guys stick around and you keep having a lot more breakthroughs and ahas, because it's true. However, it requires you to walk the path. You can't just look at it from the bottom and say, oh, that looks cool. Well, you know, I'll get there. No, you have to actually walk it and go through all the same obstacles. Because I walked it and I say, hey, at marker 1, there's a speed bump. Marker 2, there's going to be this thing that swings in front of you. I'm letting you know, right? And then it happens and you're like, oh.
And you know to move out of the way. And that's helpful. Like for those of us who are taking massive action and we're doing all the steps that you're telling us to do, it has definitely been helpful to know that speed bump is coming.
Absolutely.
And to start prepping for it.
Yep.
So there are, I think we have 7 people viewing. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and just drop your questions in there. We are watching for them. I see Sam's in there, Lisa's in there, David's in there, and a couple of others. So let's see, you went down the basketball road, you were highly successful. You've gone down the real estate road, you've been highly successful. You have a successful coaching program, a successful podcast. You have thousands upon thousands of followers on your social media platforms. What's next?
Man, world domination, that's next.
You're going to be Pinky and the Brain, you want to rule the world?
Right. You know, I have other business ideas. Like one of my clients, I knew this isn't coincidence. I've always wanted and been interested in like opening like a bar, sports bar, that type of stuff, and like maybe having a couple of chains. And one of my clients, who actually at the last MS event, Jacob, he spoke. He was one of the speakers. He has many, we can say, liquor brands that he owns. Yeah. He works a lot in the alcohol industry. Alcoholic. But basically most of them are probably alcoholics. Oops. He has the same idea. So we're probably going to do a JV, a joint venture together at some point, maybe in the next, I think, 1.5 years, 2 years, and start that, which I've always been wanting to start. Once this whole craziness is over, I really have enjoyed and will continue to enjoy the touring and speaking. I think the impact you can make with people in person is irreplaceable. I really enjoy that. And also just growing the real estate team. Like I know we've been in talks, me, you, Paula, really just growing the Team BC brand and branching off, you know, nationwide first and then worldwide. I think that's one of the next steps, and taking this. And it's not about, I want people to get it. It's not about, oh, well, we make 5,000 sales a month. No, it's not about that. It's about the culture, the brand, the integrity, and the environment and the skills and the people. That's really what it's about. Because at the end of the day, you know, making extra money here and there, I could give a shit. It really doesn't matter. Like in the money department, I've made more than I've ever wanted to, and I'm good. Like I'm not trying to squeeze pennies out of people. It's just about that recognition, brand, and legacy, and really just being like, damn, that's a badass brand. That's what I want. Right. You know, I'm more interested in that than, oh, look, we're number 1. We do 6,353 sales every month. Like that's important to get sales for sure, because we want to profit and grow and make money. But that's not the thing. It's more about the prestige with the brand and being considered elite and knowing and looking at Team BC and everybody associated and saying, damn, that's a badass tribe. Like seeing back in the day that infantry unit of warriors from a distance, and you're like, shit, we don't want to fuck with them because they're badass. They might not be the biggest. They might not be the fastest, but damn, we don't want to fuck with them. That's what I like, having that aura, you know?
Yes, I do know. So next, you want to dominate the world. Now, so I'm curious, you know, I know, and I don't mean to backtrack to your family, but what was the first thing you got your mom once you made it?
Man, I think, well, most recently, I would say one of the bigger things I bought my parents a little vacation, because I know they love to cruise. So I got them a little package that they did for a couple weeks. But the first thing I actually offered, I was trying to do this for my mom through my dad to get her a car, because she wanted a new car, but she refused. Like she wouldn't get it, right? Yeah. And I told my dad, I was like, well, I'm not going to buy the car. And then she rejects it. And then what am I going to do? Sell it? Like that doesn't make sense.
Right now, what do I got to do with this car?
Yeah. Really, I think one thing that helped is I think my parents deep down inside were a little scared, especially my mom, to retire because they were unsure of my situation. Yeah. And, you know, me after my second year, I think it gave my mom that 100% vote of confidence to retire. So I think she ended up retiring like a year or two earlier than she projected because I was doing good. So we can say that was probably a gift that I gave her. Yeah. But, you know, I can't remember anything in particular, Carol, because when it comes to like gifts or or things of that nature, I do that regularly, right? I don't like
Right.
just give my mom a kiss and a card on Mother's Day. Like I give her presents all the time. I give her gifts all the time. I spend as much time as I can with my parents. I call her very regularly. So I can't remember like one special thing that I gave her because I've given her so much. It's all kind of like a blur at this point, you know?
That's awesome. She
And
must
I've
be
never believed in that, right? Like if I'm with somebody, business partnership, I'm not just going to give them a gift on their birthday. I want to do things regularly to show my appreciation. I don't want to just wait for, you know, National Business Partner Day to give them something, right? Because then I feel like that's being cliche. Just like the people who are together who wait for Valentine's Day to give a gift to their significant other, you should be doing that shit all the time if you really like them and love them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, I'll tell you what, I really appreciate you sharing everything with us. You have any final thoughts for everybody before we check out?
No, you know, I think one of the reasons I've had the success I've had, especially if we're going to focus on social media,
Yeah.
and even in the business aspect, is everybody gets to know me and everybody feels like I'm their friend and just they respect the skill and professionalism, but they feel like, dude, he's a good dude. Like I can have him around my kids. I can have him around my family. I want to hang out with him. If you can learn to give off that vibe to people quickly, you will do well in person. You will do well on social media and anywhere you want. And that's why I focus on what I've been studying, because it creates that effect. You know, the more comfortable you are with you, the better you get with you, the easier it's going to be to transfer that to other people and make them feel more comfortable and make them feel better.
Right.
And I think that's really one of the biggest things I can plug here at the end, because that's what has allowed me to keep doing what I'm doing at the level that I'm doing it. And the cool thing about that is many people who will come to you or me and ask these questions like, how do you get started? How do you deal with criticism? How do you stay motivated? When you focus on what I just said, all that shit gets wiped away because you're working at a level and layer that's much deeper than that. Everything that I just said is very surface level and everybody's playing above the soil. We're working underneath the soil. And that's what ultimately, you know, sprouts the seed and gets you the flower. And if you can work at that level, then everything else takes care of itself. And that's why I always urge people to do these things and not fall into the cliche bullshit of, here's a 3-step system to become a millionaire and do this and how to stay motivated and all that crap. Because I feel like maybe that has a time and place, but people are too focused on that shit because they think it's quick and they think it's easy. And we tend to want to follow that path of least resistance, but we have to wire ourselves to not even pay attention to that. Because 99% of the time we know from experience, it's not going to work out.
Right. Well, if it was the path of least resistance was successful, nobody would be, you know what I mean? So we actually have a question. Somebody's asking, when you were finishing basketball, besides real estate, what other career paths were you considering?
Man, I looked at a lot. It was difficult because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to work for myself. So a buddy of mine had a car detailing business, like a mobile detailing business. I went with him for a day. And although I love cars, I was like, dude, I don't want to fucking wash cars all day. Like, it's cool. It's a good hustle. He's making good money. But I was like, it's just for me. So I helped him wash cars for that day. I didn't watch. I actually did it.
Right.
I said, hey, dude, let me work with you for a day. You don't have to pay me shit. Just let me do it so I can experience and see what you do. Another one of my friends, he worked, he spoke at the event, Dustin, remember? He's with Viola and he's in the marijuana industry.
Yes.
I went with him for a little bit for a day to check out that industry, which back at that time was a lot more underground, but I got a feel for the work that he was doing. Didn't like it personally. And it was stuff like that, right? Another one of my friends, I think, was a photographer. I went with him and hung out with him a little bit to see what he did. And he actually shot a wedding that day and I went with him. And there was maybe one or two other ones, but it was very like that, like entrepreneur type hustlers. But I spent a day with them and I did the work. I didn't fucking research it and watch a video online. I actually got out there and did it, which I think is a mistake for people when they're trying to find themselves. They'll sit on their couch and flip through Netflix and think, oh, what do I want to do with my life? Dude, you got to get out and engage with life. And that took me, it took me months to figure out what I wanted to do because I did regular jobs, right? I worked, those promotional companies. I worked with them on the weekends, like making extra money. And we'd be like at the hot rod racing tracks and we would have like a little booth and I'd represent a brand like Army or whatever it was. So I was working and saving up money, but at the same time I was out on those off days, with my friends in different places. I would message people on Craigslist, hey, I want to check out this career. I was doing job interviews, but literally halfway through the job interviews, I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? I'm not going to work for this person. Like I would want to put a bullet in my brain, but at least I did it. Right.
So did you finish the interview or were you just like, listen, bro, I'm out. I can't.
Some of them I left. I was like, dude, I want to waste your time. You know, I appreciate it. You guys got a good thing here, but I can tell already it's just not going to be a good fit for me. And I would rather, because I respect what you're doing, I'd rather not waste your time. Right. And they're like, okay, cool. And I just leave, you know, and it just, and that was in me because I was like, dude, if I just submit to this, I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to be doing it just because mommy and daddy said, get a job. I was like, I'm going to find a career, but I'm going to do it on my own terms. Fuck just settling. You know, I'm not going to settle. And that's kind of what I did.
At that point, you had already beaten the odds, right? You come out, you make it in basketball, you're going to be something. You're not going to be a dishwasher or a contractor because, you know, you shouldn't dream and that's what it's going to be. You beat the odds. There was no reason to fall back into them now.
Yeah. And it just like that, the whole I'm going to settle thing, it would just piss me off when people would tell me that. Because I would tell people, and even though it was none of my business, I'm like, I know it's none of my business, dude, but why the fuck are you settling? I know you're settling. You won't admit it, but you are. Like, that's bullshit. Well, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they always come up with some story or they just don't want to take the risk. I'm like, fuck it, bro. If I fall flat on my face, I don't care. Because I told people I'm willing to live out on the street while I figure real estate out. I'm going to figure it out. It's a matter of time. But if I have to be out on the fucking street, sleeping with Billy Joe, the homeless guy, I will. I'll jump in his fucking cardboard box and sleep. Because I'm not going to get a regular job and sit and look at myself in the mirror every night and say, I'm average and I settled for average. It's like, nah, dude. Like I would probably, I would be so disappointed and depressed if I did that I wouldn't even live, you know, and I just can't do that. I can't.
That's always going to be an image in my mind now. You and Billy Joe sleeping in a cardboard box down on the strip, you know, that's going to be a thing now. So, you know, I did forget to ask, what did it feel like the first time you got to drive your Lamborghini?
It felt like I'd already driven it a million times, really, with all the dreams I had, all the visualization I had done. Yeah. It felt like, okay, finally, like this is supposed to be here already. So it was elation. It was great. It was fun. Right. But at the same time, it was like, okay, I deserve this. So it wasn't like, I can't believe this is happening. No. I knew this was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. So it was more than anything, it was more just me being proud. Right. Yeah. And at the same time, I really enjoyed, because I still had at that time a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. Yeah. So to everybody who told me I never have one or told me I would never be successful.
Look at me now, bitches.
Like, there you go, motherfuckers. I got a Lambo, bitch. Like,
right. What you driving?
Right, exactly. I was like,
a 1989 AMC with paneling down the side.
Right. And again, right, I still at the time had I had that, and I had my daily, which was a lifted 2000 Ford F-150. Right, it wasn't anything special. Right. But you know, it was cool to have that. And then once I got that, it really flicked the switch in my mind to level everything up. I said, well, if I have a Lambo, then everything else in my life has to be that level of prestige and you know, of that, we can say elegance too. So I need to step everything up. So it helped a lot. A lot of people think, well, you just get it from marketing. That's great. But it also forces you to level everything else up in your life, your friends, you know, your habits, your thoughts, the people you spend time with, and everything. So it's really cool.
Yeah, because you can't park a Lamborghini on the street, right? You're going to need a garage.
Absolutely, yeah. 100%.
And then you don't want to, you know, I don't want to say you want to be a snob, but you definitely want to hang with people who are of the same caliber. Yeah, who can appreciate, right?
And then why do we have to apologize for saying that, right? We live in a society, Carol, where we have to apologize for saying, I want better.
I want better, right?
When everyone tells you, I wish you the best, I want the best for you. And they say that. Right. Yet when we say that in public, oh, you can't say that. Right. It's like, dude, I want better and you're okay staying where you're at. I'm not dissing you. I'm just saying I want better, so I'm out. And if that makes you feel uncomfortable, that's on you, not me. Right. I'm not gonna dim my expression just because. And a lot of times that's what it is. You know, if you're confident and it makes people feel bad, they'll badger you, and hound you because your confidence they don't have. Number one, number two, it makes them feel less of themselves. So instead of looking in the mirror and them saying, "Okay, I need to step up," they'll attack you and say, "Well, Carol, you know, you got to get off your high horse." You know.
Meanwhile, everybody's dreaming about being a millionaire. But if you admit it, you're wrong. Like, come on, man, get off it. Yeah, I'm good. Right. Well, I appreciate you coming. Oh, wait, we have another question. Sorry. Okay. Do you think it's important to go through that stage or having a chip on your having a chip on your shoulder? Is it something that's inevitable?
Well, I think that was one of those things. If any of you have read the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, he talks about having a burning desire. And for me, that was one of my burning desires. Do you need a chip on your shoulder? I don't think so. Right. And am I saying you should keep that forever? No, because eventually when that chip is gone because you've proven everything you want to prove, then what do you have left to keep going, right? Then you're just going to start going down. It was just one of the things that I had that really kept that fire under my ass, because I said, I'm not going to let these motherfuckers be right. And that shit haunted me at night. Even when things weren't going right, I'm like, I have the last thing in my mind is quitting. I'm going to prove, like literally, like you see in the movies, like what was that one movie? Billy Madison, right? When he's doing the little test at the end, if you remember, and then he calls that one guy and apologizes to him for being mean to him in high school. And the guy had created a hit list of who he was going to kill. And then he crossed out Adam Sandler, right?
Yeah.
I had that fucking list of people to prove wrong, literally. But it was way bigger than that guy's list. It was like 100 people. I was going to prove this person wrong, and this person wrong, and this person wrong. And I said, I will make their day if they find out that I quit. And that's the last motherfucking thing I'm going to do. Even if I pass away in the process, I'm going to have a little note in my hand saying, I didn't quit, bitches, like something like that. Because I don't want to give them the pleasure. So that lit the fire under my ass extra. Was it the only thing? No, because I wanted to accomplish big things for myself. But you absolutely do not need it. I just think if you do have that, then stoke that fire, because it's really cool. It's really cool, and in the end, you'll morph out of it and mature out of it and have other things like I do now. It's just really cool in the beginning to have that if you do, because not only do you prove the haters wrong, but in the process, you're going to inspire and help so many other people. I've lost count of even personal friends and people that have known me over the years that say, dude, what you've been doing is incredible. And it's forced me to, get my pilot's license because I wanted to be a pilot, or do this or do that. And to hear that from people who I hadn't talked to in 5 or 10 years is cool. So there's a big win outside of just proving those people wrong when you do that, because it inspires so many other people. And, I'm thinking, I'm not sure if we have 20-year high school reunions. I don't know if they do it 10, 30 or 10 and 20, because my 20th one is in 4 years. I'm thinking about pulling up in that bitch in a Bugatti and just being like, what's up? Because I know all those people probably would have never have thought I'd be at that level. And I know
they are
back then. So I might even do that. And knowing me, I'm just the person to do it.
Yeah. And they're thinking it too. And when you roll up in it, they're going to be like, dang.
Or just go up in a fucking helicopter, right? And parachute into the fucking reunion. Like, what's going on?
Yo, with a bottle of champagne. What's up, bitches?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
So this is Bryan Casella. For everybody who doesn't know that, if you have any questions for Bryan outside of what we've talked about today, this is his website, bryancasella.com. As he mentioned earlier, he is available for speaking engagements. If you want to contact him, just go right there. You'll be able to contact him right through the site. Any last words before we go? I wanted to plug your website real quick. Oh, you know what else? How about your coaching program? Let's go in there and plug your coaching.
Yeah, thanks, Carol. No, nothing else. I think this is good. I'm glad we're doing it. You're somebody in the program who's really getting after it, and you're having a ton of success in a short amount of time. But it's because you're just doing the basics and doing it at a high level.
So I am in Modern Success. If you go to Bryan's website and you go under coaching, you will find his Modern Success program here. You can go right here. You just click learn more. I've been in this program for about 6 months now. If you just shut up and do what Bryan tells you to do, you will be successful. It cannot not happen. He's got down here, where's the join button? Look, he's got all these testimonials. Just click yes, you want to join, go in. Don't worry about the money and do what you got to do. As Bryan told me when I first started trying to do this, he's like, you got to have some skin in the game, Carol. Yep. But it's paying off because my skin's in the game. Well, 100%. Thank you, Bryan, for joining us. We hope everybody got their questions answered, and we'll look forward to seeing you around the platforms.
Awesome. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye.